C-Sauciem, 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 Yetch cow high, yetch cow high, yetch cow high, yetch cow high. Hi everybody, welcome to the Spirit Drum Show. I'm Chris Sutton.
And I'm Sharla Hardin.
And it's great to have everybody here with us. Tonight, we have two great guests. Both of them are teachers of mine. As maybe you've probably heard me tell all the time all my stories about how my shamanic path developed and everything like that. And I always try to mention my friend Johnny Moses, who's with us, and also Kathy Sundown. And Johnny is one of the people who was sent out from the native elders to teach people about the Sisiwas medicine. And Kathy is part of a circle in California that is called the Red Cedar Circle, and also practices the Sisiwas medicine tradition, of which I'm a part of in southwestern Illinois. And so, Johnny and Kathy, it's great to have you on.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I talk a lot about synchronicity in the medicine and how things happen for a reason. When I moved back to my hometown of Alton, Illinois, I've been gone for several years and have been practicing a different medicine tradition. And I came home and I was flumming through the paper one day and I look up and I said, oh, what's this? Teaches in the Sisiwas medicine tradition, Johnny Moses, Wistimini. Wistimini means walking medicine robot. That's his medicine name. And all of a sudden I come into the SIU Edwardsville and there you are. And I hear you for the first time. And I thought this is the medicine I've been looking for. And it's just how these things happen so coincidentally. How do you feel how that does that happen for you and you and Kathy both? I mean, the synchronicity of the medicine or of spirit, how it works.
Oh, definitely. Yes. You get to a point in your life where you just give up and not trying to change anything.
Yeah. Kathy, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, well, when I first came to the medicine, it was definitely meant to be. A friend of mine named Kathleen Bluecorn had called me and told me that I needed to go down and see this shaman storyteller, and that I needed to take the girls with me. And so I just didn't even ask her hardly any questions. I just grabbed the kids. It was pouring rain, and I said, we're going to go take a trip to, because my brother lived down there. So I said, we're going to go see Uncle Mo and Becky, and then I'm going to take you to see this Indian man, just like your dad, and that tells stories and stuff. And they were really excited. And so then we went down there, and when we came in the door, in the door to the Tilden Park there in Berkeley, where he was sharing stories and teachings, and they were having a prayer circle. And when I walked in, Johnny came across the room and said, "Hi, it's so good to see you guys again." And then I was like, "Oh, yeah." The kids, and then when the kids heard him laugh, they just were so happy. So that was the beginning.
Yeah, and both of my children also, I mean, just they heard Johnny laugh and tell stories, and they're just, it's like, oh, yeah, he's an okay guy. Yeah. Johnny, how the medicine started? You went, and when I say medicine, it means our gift from spirit. And I know obviously know the story, but a lot of the people who are listening and watching don't. So, how did you get into the medicine?
Well, I was raised by my grandparents since I was 3 months old, and so they were practicing medicine people, and which when I was growing up, I just thought of them as mom and dad, and nobody wants to be like their mom and dad when they're growing up. So, and I used to see them practice their medicine ways, and then my grandmother was also a midwife, and so the house was always busy. There were people coming, or they were being called continuously to help people or whatever, and so it was an ongoing thing, and they were. I never seen them sleep, and so I thought, oh gosh, I never want to practice medicine ways because you never get any sleep. Because when I was a child, I'd see them. They'd be waking up early in the morning, and we had chores. We had to work, you know, we kept busy, and we were so tired, you know, by the time we got evening, and then my grandparents would, after they were done with their work, and here they would be getting calls. They'd have to go and pray for someone or help someone, or my grandmother would have to deliver a baby or something like that, and I never did see them sleep. We would pass out before they would. We'd wake up. We didn't believe that our grandparents ever slept.
Well, yeah, they're always going someplace and throwing you in the back of the car and off you go to it.
Oh yes.
So how much area did they have to cover? How many reservoirs?
But it was through the whole Northwest. My grandparents traveled all over, and they lived on Vancouver Island, but they were called to all over the United States and Canada for. My grandparents specialized as well in soul retrieval and healing people who lost themselves. So they were called to. We went to many different reservations throughout the United States and Canada. So that was quite a learning experience for me, and I was tired of being around Indians all the time, and oh God, I'm just so tired of it. And I was so when I went to boarding school, you know, I was the last generation to be sent to boarding school, and my grandparents hid me from the government agents until I was 9 years old, and I had boarding school in Canada. You were sent to boarding school as early as the age of 3. Earlier they assimilated you to get rid of the culture, you know. But after that, I went to the boarding school. That's when I got sick in the boarding school. I guess probably from the diet and everything, and just the abuse that we went through. But I got cancer when I was in the boarding school as a child, and so they sent me home to die because in them days they didn't have any money. The government didn't help our people at all, you know. And so I was sent home to die, and my grandparents took over after that, and they started helping me and praying for me and using medicine plants and herbals, and faith healing. And I had people from all faiths in our Indian community pray for me, Catholics, and Protestants, and medicine people and Shaker people. It was mostly Shaker people and Indian Shakers and then Sasiwas medicine people who helped me. And because the doctor said I only had a few months to live with the cancer that I had, and but when my grandparents took over and I went to see the doctor a year after, and the response was, "You're still alive." and he was just, they were so shocked, and but he had believed that I was going to be dead because I looked like I was in which I was, a boarding school in them days. It was like going to a concentration camp, and so a lot of our people died in those boarding schools. And a lot of our people were told, if you don't learn English and you don't give up these ways, you'll never see your family again. And so children, we were so afraid. And but I was really lucky. There was a Catholic nun there, who spoke our language, and she lived with our people for 35 years. So she was like part of our family. And so when I went to this boarding school, there was a person who worked with the Mother Superior. It was a Catholic boarding school, and she could speak our language, and she was from England, and she had an English accent, and So it was so wonderful. I didn't think her accent was funny because I thought it was just a different tribe, and but she actually spoke with the English, really strong English accent in her Nootka language. Like, for example, when I went to the boarding school and I seen her, and I automatically, that's all I could speak was my language, except cuss words. I learned all the cuss words from my grandmother and my and that's how my grandmother used to, that's how my grandmother used to pray. And she was a Christian, and she'd pray that, God damn it, you motherfucker, get off of your demons. And that's how she would pray, and she would get rid of the demons in the name of Jesus. It always works, but when she prayed in the Sasiwas way, she didn't cuss, and she just used our language. But the nun, Catholic nun who spoke her language, her name was Mary, and she was so happy to see me too. She was, my grandparents were the ones that had adopted her as their daughter, and so she was like my auntie. And he said, Johnny, by George, God save the Queen. And other people would be laughing when they'd hear her speak. Here she was supposed to be encouraging us to use our language, but she convinced the Mother Superior that she would be just interpreting, translating for me while I learned. She would help me to learn English language. So that's how I was in the boarding school. It made a lot more fun to be, because I had a relative there. There were Native people from all over Canada and the United States who went to this boarding school. This was in Canada, and Eskimo people as well, Inuits and Inupiaq. And in Canada, we call them Inuit. And in Alaska, they're Inupiaq. But I felt so bad for some of them they were even farther away. At least I was in the Northwest, but they were somewhere from Eastern Canada, and Native people from back there, or people from the Eskimo country. Some of them didn't make it back, which is very sad. And when I became ill in this, the illness that I received, the old people told me that I received that illness because of the anger and the hatred. I began to have hatred and anger when they started abusing us, because we were never hit at home. When my grandparents told us stories, and sometimes they would threaten us, or they would tell us monster stories or really scary stories, or use the mind, So, like, they tell us monster stories about these monsters that live at night, and then these were our bedtime stories, and then but they were also discipline stories, and they would tell us if we didn't behave, this is what happens to bad people. And so in our mind, we were kind of getting spanked with stories, But then they would test us to see how strong we were, and after they tell us these scary stories, we had to do everything. We didn't have no electricity, so we had to go and get our water and get a water pump, And after they're done telling the stories, they'd say, hand us a bucket, go get a bucket of water at nighttime out there. After they tell us a scary story, none of us kids would.
I wouldn't go.
Akashic Awareness is a metaphysical healing and learning center unlike any other. A large selection of crystals, gems, and minerals greet you as you walk in the door, but from that point onward, the journey is yours. They offer a great selection of metaphysical tools, state-of-the-art holistic healing, with classes and lectures scheduled throughout the month. Akashic Awareness is open Tuesday through Saturday, noon until 6:30, 7 on Friday and Saturday. Visit their website for a current calendar of their almost daily special events and guests at akashicawareness.com. And while you are there, be sure to join their email list to stay current. Akashic Awareness, 328 Sycamore Street, Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
Scarefest the 13th is coming October 23rd through 25th.
You guys have got to help me!
Whoa, who's your friends?
Don't forget, Sunday's Tuesday.
Lexington, Kentucky, October 23rd through 25th. TheScarefest.com.
They told mainly stories about warning us against people, and it wasn't about animals. We weren't scared of animals at all, because we were raised that was our home in the forest, and so we weren't, but we were cautious. The elders would say the animals can be really mean and short-tempered too, and have jealous and kill people and everything. But they learned that from human beings. So as children, we would always, we would be sensible, and when we go out into the forest, and you didn't just run around and be loud and everything, because it can be dangerous when you're picking berries, like with my grandmother, who would tell us you must be quiet, because the mountain lions, and then they could take children, but that never happened to us. But as I got older, I began to realize that we'd have different kinds of mountain lions in our family, and different kinds of monsters or animals. All the animals represent people, so we all have related to pigs and roaches and snakes. So
Some closer than others.
yeah, so some of us are scared of them, some of us are not.
I wanted to.
The medicine way really has helped me that way from the beginning as a child, and it was a way of life. I was never separated really from it. And even when I went to boarding school, my grandparents used to tell me, when you're in the boarding school, always remember that you're not alone, that we love you so much. And when you look up in the sky, anytime you feel lonely and sad, and know that we are looking at the stars too. It's really foggy a lot in the Northwest, So, but late at night, there's always some kind of stars that you can see, and sometimes the spirit would show you something would flash in the sky, especially children, and all the children would see stars talking. And I found out later on, as time went on, that other children, their grandparents had told them to look at the stars, that they're not alone. Mm-hmm. And so I always used to think about that, how our elders used to always let us know that no matter, you can touch a tree, and then that tree will communicate, that has roots that go a long ways and has so much love, that love can travel through the roots and the trees, and it'll touch another tree will touch another one, and I always knew that my grandparents were close by when I look at the stars. So I never felt lonely, but I felt bad for some of the other children that were not from traditional families. There were some half-breed children, children that were that were really orphans, and so they already came from broken homes. Some of them already were raised in supposedly Christian homes, but they were broken homes.
Yeah.
And it was mainly the ones who didn't have their old people I felt bad for, and some of them, those are the ones that died at the boarding school.
You had said something earlier that caught my ear, and you said that your grandparents would go and help people with soul retrieval.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Mm-hmm. Other people in the society would say people who lost their marbles. or lost their mind.
I love that terminology. That sounds much better than what we say today.
As a child, I loved playing with marbles. That's my grandfather always. When you come back from town, he'd bring us a bag of marbles, and everything was cheaper back then. but when they would tell us that, oh, well, Grandma's going to pray for someone they lost their marbles. And I'd look at me and my sisters and brothers, we'd all look at, we better not lose our marbles.
Yeah. Because marbles are fun.
For many years as a child, I didn't understand. Boy, my grandparents really are dedicated to people who lose their marbles.
Yeah. Those marbles can get away from you.
So in your mind,
brings us new marbles.
So in your mind, Grandma and Grandpa are blowing the cedar smoke and the light and singing and dancing for people who lost their marbles.
To try to find the marbles.
And then, as I was a little child, then my grandpa always came home and brought new marbles. So we always said, gee, that's why they do that. We realized that in our language, they told us, no, those, so we'd hear that in the Indian English language, someone lost their marbles. So as a child, we would think that. But then later on, my grandparents would say, oh, no, they meant toys. That was your little toys, your little brothers and sisters. And that's what we call our toys, little brothers and sisters. They're our little our family. And we belong to our little people. And so in our language, and my grandparents used to say that they would be called usually by a relative of that person who might have lost their soul or went crazy. In our culture, we never had before we became civilized, we didn't have prisons, we didn't have mental institutions. I believe one of the reasons why the elders in the stories, they tell us the stories that they tell us, it's like you go into you're visiting a place, and a place, it can be like a prison. And when you can be stuck in this space or this you make a mental image and you're in this box or this, and you can't get out. And there are some people, they feel so comfortable in that box, or sometimes the spirits feel so bad for them, they don't want to let them go. So we visit these places in our mind and spirit but never in body. So we experience it, and so because we don't want to be in a place like that and create a place to put a person to imprison them. And this is what people have done in this society, and I think if people use the mind and the spirit without the body, would be more successful in teaching young people like they taught us as young people. This is what happens to you, but and a person can go crazy, or sometimes they go to that place that they feel comfortable, that space, and they just live in the fantasy.
Mm.
That's how it's explained to.
Yeah.
That's when we started learning about these medicine ways, and then, like even in as time went on, as I got older, I was invited with my grandparents to. My grandfather would go. My grandmother, she would not hardly ever go into a hospital unless it was one of our relatives that one asked for her to come and pray for her. She could not stand going in the hospital because she felt, because people, we are all sensitive, we all feel these things, and we try to escape by not feeling them, and so there's many things that we do to try to escape that, but it's around us all the time. And when a child does not learn how to be sensitive, or it's okay to feel their feelings, then they start to go crazy. They start to kind of thrash out, or start to become, they stuff all that in their body, and they blow up, and we see that happens a lot all the time. People just, they can't stand it anymore, or just nobody listening to them, or or it's just so sad to see that. And so when I go in with my grandfather, I remember we go into a mental institution to pray for someone, and my grandfather said, "Now you'll see different people here. They'll look like they're doing their spirit dancing, but they just haven't finished." And I didn't know what he was talking about, and I was a teenager when I went with him in this mental institution. And there was a lady who was suffering in this mental institution. Her husband had committed her. And these were the days that women had no say really had no rights. Their husband could just commit them.
Sign a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm. And then this poor lady, because she was crying too much, he was one of those families that you don't share no feelings at all, and you just hide them. But she couldn't stand it anymore, and she just kind of blew up and couldn't stop crying. And then she had a reason to, because she had lost her son. Her son had died, and her only son, that, and it was so awful. And so he had committed her, and she told my grandfather, she could hear her whispering all the time, someone whispering, and then she would ignore, she ignored it. It got stronger. That, and she wasn't a person that she never drank. I guess she did take the pills, because like this, we used to have a pill for everything, but sometimes she couldn't even take the pills. She would just get sick, and she'd start shaking, and then she'd throw up the pills. And it was that spirit, and what it was, her cry, her tear, it was a cry that turned into a song. And she was making these different sounds, moaning and groaning. But the sounds were, my grandfather said, what you need to do while you're in here, and they always have her in a padded room, and she said, you have a soundproof room, they won't hear you anyway. Sing, try to sing your song. Or hum the song, sing the song, dear. That's what he would tell her. And so she did this, and what it was, so this, her song was, her own cry was killing her and making her go crazy, because and it was kind of like that song, the cry, your tears is like a door or a window. When you or open your heart, you might as well say, and you let the feelings, you let yourself cry, then you cannot be imprisoned. You get out of the jail, or you get out of the space. And so she, after she cried, she felt better. She didn't cry anymore. And she didn't, she just kind of followed what they told her in the institution, because I feel like you've helped me. She had to tell the doctors that there. She was still hearing the voices, but the voices weren't whispering anymore. The reason why she heard them whispering is it was her own breath. The breath was so loud in her ears, and crying, and the torment of missing her son. That it was like a wind. It's like a wind, continuous wind in her ear, and so it was a song. So when she heard her song, she sang it, and she was.
Everyone is talking about CBD oil, and it seems like almost everyone is using it. The research is ongoing, but the apparent health benefits are overwhelming. If you're going to use CBD products, though, what brand should you buy? First, find out where the hemp was grown. Imports are flooding the market. How potent is it? Look for a brand that plainly states its concentration on the label. And look for full spectrum CBD. This means the oil contains CBD and all the other cannabinoids, terpenes, and nutrients that are found in the entire cannabis plant. Look for Blue Leaf CBD oil. Blue Leaf Naturals is a Kentucky proud company. They use only Kentucky-grown hemp, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses. Visit their website at blueleafcbd.com now and use the code SMILE at checkout for free shipping.
Join us at the Universal Energy Expo May 2nd and 3rd at the Northern Kentucky Convention Center. Meet celebrity guest Coyote Chris Sutton. Door prizes and workshops available with admission. While here, check out our readers, healers, and one-of-a-kind vendors. Admission the day of the event is $15 daily, $20 for a weekend pass. Discount tickets now available at the Silver Wolf at 4205 Richardson Road in Independence, Kentucky. The Universal Energy Expo. Come curious, leave enlightened.
All right, kiddo, lights out.
Night, Daddy.
Night, son.
Scarefest is coming October 23rd through 25th to the Lexington, Kentucky Convention Center. TheScarefest.com for tickets and more information.
Okay, guys, I'm only reading one story tonight.
It's, given the way things are today with so many people, like you said, blowing up, but they blow up violently, not so much, internally they externalize it.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's worse and worse every time you pick up a paper or watch the news.
Yes.
And I mean, one of the reasons I practice CC is because it's about peace. It's about giving light. It's about giving love and healing through light and well, maybe a shove every once in a while, but a little gray shaman work there. But and it's because Johnny, you bravely have gone out and brought the medicine, to people who never would have heard about it, and you've taken a lot of shit along the way, from all kinds of people.
Well, I never had to worry about the shit hitting the fan because I grew up without electricity. We didn't have no electricity to run the fan.
There's the silver lining.
But when I became educated, that's when oh my God, do they use that fan for?
Is that the shit fan?
That's great.
So why do it? Why share the medicine? I mean, it's not been an easy journey for you.
I believe that it's the right thing to do, and my grandfather, he was the first one to share the medicine with non-Indians in 1921.
Mm.
And imagine, even back then, in 1921, it was still against the law for Native people to, everything, you could be arrested for drumming, and
Wow.
the potlatch law came into effect here in the Northwest. So, even just talking about it, you could be put in jail. And so you could be reported. And for him to be teaching non-Indians, they could be put in jail too, for helping a Native person to practice something that was supposed to be bad. It's supposed to be bad for our health, and I guess.
So Kathy, you were blessed with spending so much time with Johnny. Because we get him once in a while here in Illinois, and we learn so much when he comes to see us in Illinois that we've had enough for another 5 years, and he comes back. When he comes back, we were ready again. And so, no, really wish to get him every year. But so so here you are. You start out, and this Indian man says, "Oh, nice of you to see you again. You've never seen him before in your life." So what's the trip been since then? What's learning from Johnny?
It's been amazing. It's been quite a journey. All of it. And he lives right next door. No, it's been wonderful. I mean, I right before I met him and the circle and everybody, I had been praying for that, praying to meet a family, a community of people that, that I could be part of, that I felt like I was a part of. And so it was just an answer to my prayer. And, and like with any family, there's, ins and outs, ups and downs, but it's been amazing, and I don't regret any of it. And it's helped me in my life. It saved my life. I can honestly say that it saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids grew up learning all the teachings, and they might not come to the circles, but if you ask them about most anything, they can tell you verbatim. Especially my oldest daughter, she knows a lot of the stories, and of course she lives right here at the house too. So anyway, it's it's been an incredible blessing. I don't know how else to say it.
Now you say that you were searching for this group of people, and you were praying for this group of people. I think oftentimes we all have some sort of moment in our life where we are looking to connect with that spiritual group. What would you suggest to other people who are kind of in that space and looking to connect with that energy and with that tribe, so to speak?
Well, I could tell them from my experience that if you're just praying from your heart,
there she is again.
Twilight Zone. I mean, I don't know how they do their, connection with God, or I call it God, Creator.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like whatever's in their heart, and whatever needs to come to them, it will, and in the time and the way that it needs to. And that's how it happened for me. But I don't know how it would happen for somebody else, but I believe that, if you keep asking your higher power, your creator, the love of God to help you in your life, that you will receive that help eventually. I mean, it'll come in certain ways, and if you're awake enough to hear it and see it and feel it, that it will be there.
I think that was really important what you said just now, that it will come to you in the time and the place that it's meant to. And I think I see, and certainly have gone through times myself when you start to get a little impatient, because you're looking for that, you're asking for it, and it doesn't seem like it's coming to you. But I guess the patience part is important, and in keeping that faith that, like you said, when it's the time and the place, it will come.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or it might come grab you and kick your butt.
Yeah, you might
drag
not
you
get
along.
You might not. You might come in a way that you don't expect, and that you that in your mind is what you were, wasn't what you pictured, I guess, because we have no idea, really. I mean, it's all mystery, really, of how our life will reveal itself, and what journeys we will go on, throughout our life. I mean, I was raised in a family where we didn't really have spiritualism, really. We had my mom, we were, I was baptized in the Episcopalian church. Johnny calls it the pissed off church. And I got baptized. We went to church. I hardly ever went with my parents, but I went with the neighbors because my parents didn't want to get up that early in the morning. And I wanted to get dressed up. I wanted to go to Sunday school, but, it didn't last long, and my parents really never talked about religion. Or my mom, the only thing she would ever say is that, if you go to church and do all that, that's fine, but, you got to really, whatever it is that you believe in, you have to show that by action. And she always felt like the churches didn't really help their communities, I mean, some of them did, she said, but a lot of those people, she said, when I go and ask them for money to help, she helped different programs, and they said, oh no, I don't really want to think about, the people with mental illness or the people out on the streets and the different organizations that she helped. And she really felt like that was her church, was helping people in the community, and doing what she felt was right to, as a community person, that we have to take care of everybody in our community. And so that's what we learned from our mom. But she never really, she would go to church and she would pray, but she just was really, didn't have a lot of belief. She believed in something. I know she did. She was more superstitious, you could say. Yes. But she did one time get down and pray. I did see her on her knees praying for, one time in front of me. So, and I won't tell you why. Sorry.
There they went.
But anyway, yeah. So when I, and I was working as a nurse too in the hospital, and I was taking on everybody's illnesses because I thought that I wanted to help them so badly, and I hated seeing people suffer. And when I say that the medicine saved my life, it's because I learned how to pray for my brother Gethsemane, and from all the elders and the people in the circle. It helped me to find my own way of praying, and so that I didn't take that all on, that I could give it to God, and I mean, I was starting to get really, really sick from the illnesses, the people that I was taken care of. I took care of a lot of people that were dying, young people from cancer. And then once I started learning the songs would actually go with me in the hospital and help me to help the people, that they would come through for the people there. And I usually didn't like sing them really loud. I would hum them in the room as I was in there, helping. So that's how.
What is it about the song and singing the songs? Is it the words themselves? Is it the intention behind it? Is it the vibration? What is it specifically about the songs?
For me, it's just the feeling of the spirit of the song that comes in, and just you can feel it working in the room and on the people, and you don't know exactly what's going on, but you can feel that there's healing happening, and I don't know how else to explain it.
That was perfect.
This spirit just, the feelings, you trust your heart and your feelings, and you sing how you feel, and a lot of the songs don't have words. They're vocables, I guess. And you sing those songs, and then you begin to feel what that person's feeling. And it's not always luxurious and, and wonderful. Pray for people, and when you really do pray for, but you have no choice sometimes, because if you don't do it, the Creator will say you're the one that has to help people, so you're going to feel this, and whether you like it or not.
Right.
And the key is not taking it away with you. After you do healing, you go to the water. You use the water we splash the water to break that connection. But the song also brings it through, but also carries it away.
Yes.
And that's really important. That's also saved me psychologically. I realized that a long time ago. But yeah, the song is just takes you where you follow it, and it'll take you where you need to go and keep you safe. With the spirits, with the grandmothers, the grandfathers who are with you, because you're doing such great things that they watch you and lend you aid. When I started doing medicine work, walking the medicine path, I used to I'm a white guy. I might have a little bit of Indian in me, but I don't know. But I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want to look stupid. And I used to worry about these things, but after, I think, really, once the CEWS medicine teaching started taking on, I was like, all of a sudden, wait a minute, why do I care? Because that's one of the things about the CEWS medicine, and we're all in this together.
The feelings people have, feelings don't have prejudice, or they're not. These sicknesses are not prejudice either. They will visit you no matter what nationality you belong to or what color your skin. You can get the same cold as anybody else.
Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Now find them monthly at the Central Kentucky Mystical Market in Lexington. Or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to coyotechris.com to learn more.
I hear this place has the best pizza in town.
Yeah? Well, good, 'cause I'm starving. Hey, here he comes.
Large extra cheese pizza. Enjoy.
Excuse me, sir. This pizza isn't cut.
Well, we've hired someone specific for that job. Enjoy.
The Scarefest is coming October 23rd through 25th at the Lexington, Kentucky Convention Center. Visit thescarefest.com.
I hate when they cut it in squares.
You know, it was interesting when you were saying that, you know, you during the healing process, you don't take it with you. It was very similar to the theory in Usui Reiki, where when you're working with your hands to heal someone, you're not working with your own energy. You're pulling from the healing source. And I've seen a lot of people that will practice Reiki and they'll say, I'm going to push my energy into you. And that always kind of gives me a little bit of a twinge, because it's a lot of ego involved there. And it's not about that. It's about, you're just a conduit at that moment. You know, you're just directing where the energy needs to be applied. You know, it's like putting butter on a piece of bread with a knife. You're not inspiring the butter on the bread. You're using a tool to do it. Mm-hmm. And Reiki is the same way. And I often wonder, you know, if sometimes that's a hindrance, or if that can cause more problems than it can good. If someone is practicing from an ego perspective as opposed to a true healing intention, what would you say to that? And how can people be aware of going to healers who may have maybe not the best intentions?
Usually, just common sense, people usually can feel it. They know there's not something quite right, you know, or that they might not put their finger on it, but they, you know, maybe I'm supposed to just watch and learn something here too, because wherever we go, we have prayer in our heart. We pray, and there's many different ways to pray. Sometimes the Creator just wants us to learn by watch and learn, and then accepting. But if we feel that we're not so, it's ourselves, that we shouldn't be there, we should follow that, you know, and let's leave, you know, or quietly escape.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, look, a moose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what my grandmother used to say. That's why you never hear old Indian people say they're into this or into that. My grandmother, I've never been into anybody. I'm not going to start now. And healers, like my grandmother says, when they that saying when they just don't touch this, she says, you know, our healers don't touch anything. Because we're just instruments, like you were saying, we're instruments of God, or the great universe. And so it's the feelings, and sometimes there are feelings that are, or even spirits that just need to be directed. And sometimes you get to be, it's always a surprise. And to this day, I'm always being surprised, and I always pray to the Creator. Oh, Creator, don't give me too much of a surprise. And I always find I learned to laugh at myself a lot. So one of the things I always tell people to beware of a healer that is too they don't know how to laugh at themselves. And there's something that there's something there that they need healing with, and then they're not following the direction. They might have the healing power, but they're not using it right. And eventually, you know, the spirit gets tired of, and of that person, and makes the person, or the creator will make the person go on sabbatical or whatever.
They have to go find their marbles.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And or sometimes my grandmother used to say that not all people that come to take care of those people are black shamans. There is sometimes justice being done. That it's the spirit that protects somebody. You know, maybe protects your children, or the women, or men, or whoever, or someone who's going to be abused. You know, and sometimes we used to see elders that would get mad, or they would all of a sudden start shouting around, and then my grandmother would say, "Oh, there they go again!" Like, and but the person, we knew that particular person that they're shouting around. All the people in our village knew that when they shouted around like that they were really shouting at the sickness, the demon. They weren't shouting. It wasn't the person. The person can't help it. And sometimes unfortunately, there are people in this world that use their ego in that way. And but you know, there's always someone who has a bigger ego, or more dangerous, that will take care of them. But we always pray for a healer that will come and take care of them. That they would do the same thing as someone that, you know, someone that they would be scared of. You know,
Right.
the spirit would show them, kind of shake them up, and it's their ego is so big, they can't see. You know, like my grandmother used to always be telling us, "You're not the center of the universe. You know, you probably don't even know where the hell the center is." That's why we never go to the Indians. Don't like to go to the Indian center because we're not going to know Indian center. And then someone would tell, "Are you going to go to the senior center?" "Oh, hell no! I never went to the Indian center. I'm not going to go to no senior center."
You know, Johnny, we could go on for like 3 hours, I think. However, this is a little bit of an hour-long show tonight, and that's okay. And obviously, we'll have to have both of you back, because this has been because I know you, and I know we've just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you know, Sharla, this is how it is for 2 or 3 days when Johnny comes to town. It's just so great. He tells dirty jokes then.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a story or anything you want to end with tonight? And not only these 3-day stories either.
Or a song even?
Yeah, a song. Yeah, a song would be great too.
Right. I guess we'll just, gosh.
No pressure.
Here.
I guess we'll share just a song. There's just so many stories that only stories I can think of that are coming to me, and the numerous stories. And I'm just so grateful to the song. This is a song that asks our Mother Earth, our sacred Mother Earth, and as our Indian people, a lot of them became Christians. They sometimes refer to Mother Mary as Mother Earth. You know, and they put so like even once in the Catholic religion, our Indian people, the sign of the cross, people use it in the traditional way. And the elders prophesied that these new medicine ways were coming. So we look at the Christianity as one of the new ways to help us, and that the new and old can live together. And so when people see us cross ourselves sometimes to 12 Nancy to Nancy to Santa Slade, oh, Matsista, people ask me, does that mean the name of the Father and Son and Holy Spirit? And it says, yes, it has been translated that way, but sometimes when our Indian people pray the old Indian way, and they'll say it means this way, that way, and over here and over there. So it's the four directions, the four ways. But this song, I was thinking, it's called the Holy Mother Song, or Mother Earth, and in the Shaker Church, it's for the Mother Mary, and thanking our mothers who suffered. All of us might not get along with our mother, and but our mother suffered to bring us in this world, and also that sometimes we're not raised by our own mother, like I wasn't. I was raised by my grandmother, and didn't know my mother until I was much older, and still she didn't feel like she was my mother. But as I went along through life, many different older women, I found that I had many mothers that came to me at different times. And my grandmothers used to say that in your life, you will find that you will have many mothers. You don't just have one mother. And so it is really true that you go out and you find your mother. It's not that your mother's lost. It's that a mother needs to be found, and a sacred mother, and whether it's Mother Earth or the Spirit Mother Earth comes in different ways. So that's why I love this song. It's a song that it was the song that one of our elders received her cry again, that her cried when she was crying for the child and the children leaving the world, and she felt so lost. And it came back, this cry turned into the song, and the song it was letting her know that your loved ones, ones that you lose, they're never really gone. They change, and they begin to see their pure love, and they begin to find out who they really were. And it's maybe not their fault who they had become on this earth. But sometimes we form ourselves, or we allow ourselves to be formed by other people and of our community. So I think this song is another song that just kind of frees people who feel like they're so trapped, smothered to death. Even people who love their mothers, they can still be smothered by their mother. And so in a smother loving way. That's my grandmother used to say that don't pray for the mothers that you don't like, because they never go away. You'll still hear them complaining even when they're dead. It's just a waste of time. So don't be wasting your time. She used to tell us not to feel bad or worried, you know, that we didn't have a relationship with our mother, or because we used to feel bad, you know. This is, you know, it's a blessing in disguise, you know. And she was a mother to a lot of people. So we'll sing this song, or it turns into a 3-hour. Mali, skojaš čarom, Mali, skojaš čarom, Thank you.
That was wonderful.
C-sauciem, 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 yetch cow high, yetch cow high, yetch cow high, yetch cow.